welcome to the second composition with Marcos. And in this composition, this is a white to play study which was covered in the book. So Marcos, could you please explain about what this is and what we can expect?
Yes, this is a study which illustrates another practical advice by Piotr in his book. In most studies, we see in solving competitions, the start of the play is somewhat prosaic sometimes, not tactical at the beginning. The start sometimes doesn't involve tactics. It's about the only movies from both sides. So this is a real advice to solve this problem. We start you don't see yet the idea of the composer, but we start with logical moves to see what happens. It's not wrong. It's a problem by Abraham Gurvich, published in Russia in 1952.
Okay, interesting. So it's a white to play and draw, and we can see that, but because two of white's pieces are attacked, and we will have to lose one of them at least, or it seems that we will lose one of these. So, okay, let's try solving this. So, first thing which comes to my mind is, of course, move the rook away, attack the bishop, but of course, bishop f4, and the rook is pinned. So, that's a no-no. What else can we try to save both the pieces? Well, we can't attack this bishop in any way since rook e5, rook h3 both are forbidden. And we can't attack this knight either because it's defended by the bishop. So, okay. Maybe we'll have to give up our bishop. But in return, we'll have to find a position where we can benefit well from. Okay, so for example, but what exactly should we play in the starting position itself? Okay, so if we give up our rook, so let's just say we play, for example, bishop b3, take. And then we try and win this pawn. So will a bishop against a bishop and knight be a draw? I think so, right? That bishop against bishop and knight. Yeah, so if we're able to win this pawn, that would be good. But then he can just put it on a dark square and we can't do anything about it. And if we, of course, bishop g4, then h3, this knight defends it. So again, that's not the best way forward, I think. Okay, I think our first move has to be, for example, rook h8, trying to defend this bishop. But then king g7 is the main problem, I think. Since if you go bishop d4, then we have bishop h7 check and bishop into g6, and this will be considered a draw. But what about king g7? Again, both pieces are attacked, and what can we do about it? Maybe we go bishop h7? Because, again, the idea is that king into h8, bishop into g6. We're just trying to win that pawn so that it's going to be a draw. Even if we have to sacrifice our rook, of course. But, or maybe bishop f7. Though bishop f7, then king into f7, that might be quite a hassle to draw since g5 and these two pieces are going to overwhelm the rook at some point. So we might have to go bishop h7, but then g5 pushes the pawn. What do we do now? Rook g8 check is met by king into h7, not possible. And rook e8 is also not possible because of bishop f4 check followed by taking the bishop. So an intermediate move is also there. Okay. What else can we do? Because bishop. Okay, maybe we try going something like rook to d8, king into h7, and then rook d1. Because I was thinking that now if he moves his knight away, then we can have something like rook d3 and trying to attack both these pieces. But then again, black can get away with this easily with bishop f4 check and then moving this knight away. So that's also not possible. Okay. What else can be done? Maybe. Oh, wait. What I'm thinking is that can this knight be dominated? Because e2, f3, h3, all three are light squares. And so this knight can be dominated if this bishop were to be on g4. But that would mean we'll have to give up our rook, which is also quite a big thing. And the king can also come to f4 like this, right? So we'll have to come with our king as well, but seems unlikely that this will actually be a fortress we can hold because bishop f4 check, and then bishop here, for instance. Yeah, and actually what white could do is just go king e4, king e3, king e3 and then king f2.
White has always two squares.
Yeah, because now king e4 happens, and then if, for example, he goes bishop a1, then king d5 again. So we just stop this black king from coming to e5.
Yes.
And with that, oh my goodness. That's amazing. Okay, so a fortress comes up, which is, again, very paradoxical to think about because at the start, you won't think that with a bishop, knights, and so many free-ranging pieces that a fortress could occur, but actually it does happen. So I'll recap the solution real quickly. So it's white to play and draw, and both this bishop and rook are attacked, and white must try and save it. So the most obvious move which comes to your mind is of course rook to h8, defending this bishop and moving the rook out of danger. But then black can quickly play king g7, again attacking both of these pieces. Now, the important thing is to note that a bishop versus a bishop and knight will be considered a draw. So using that, we can try playing bishop h7. Because now if king into h8, bishop into g6, and we can claim it that this is going to be a draw and end it here. But the study doesn't end here because black can push the pawn to g5, and again a big problem arises. Both these pieces are attacked, and this time there is no escaping since this pawn is on a dark square, and so this bishop can't capture it. So now what do we do? If we move the rook away, then this bishop will be lost, and the bishop and knight will clearly overwhelm this rook. So the best move is actually to maintain a very creative fortress, in my opinion, which is to play bishop to f5. And the main idea behind this is, of course, to see that this knight has three squares which he can go to: e2, f3, and h3. And all of these squares are light squares. And we have a bishop that is also light squared. So the best thing for us is, of course, to dominate that knight. And this can be done with First black playing king into h8, of course, and then bishop to g4. And now guess what? The knight can't move anywhere, h3, f3 or e2. But black still has one trick up his sleeve. He can try getting his king quickly to f4 so that he can budge this bishop away. So for example, king to g7. But then the white king also comes in. King f6, king d6. And now the king is of course deprived of coming to e5 and f4 since this king on d6 is nicely covering it. Black can of course give a few pretty checks like bishop to f4 check, but then king just moves to d5. Bishop to e5, oh, blocking these two dark squares. Okay, king to e4. And again, like Marcos said before, white will always have two squares in which he can go to, so that's no big problem. And of course, this e6 square is also not accessible because of this monstrous bishop, which is literally controlling all of the squares which are needed to be and are super important to be controlled of. So, wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, and was this in the book as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so
the first one not. The first one was not in the book, but this is in the book.
Okay, so yeah, amazing problem by the author, which is also covered.
Abraham Lovich.
Yes, and it's also amazingly covered in the book as well, I would say, because almost all of the problems there are amazingly explained and so on. So thank you for watching and see you in the next composition.